So, good evening, one and all, and good evening to my mentor, Professor Arun Patnaik. He was my teacher in Hyderabad University, with whom I did my MPhil, and till now, he is my mentor, and he will be my mentor. And today, the speaker is Pavitra Kumar Bag. Uh, technically speaking, he was my junior in Hyderabad University and also in Jawaharlal Nehru University, but I consider as my younger brother. So that's why he calls me Bhaina. And we have that kind of feeling in Hyderabad University and JNU. Uh, okay. And presently, he is working as an assistant professor in the Department of Political Science, Kalahandi University. And Dr. Bag, since he is a insider of today's talk, what is the title of today's talk? That affirmative action for the weaker sections and other developmental strategies. And since he is the insider to this, affirmative action, if I apply Gramscian language, I will say he is an organic intellectual on this concept. That doesn't mean that there is no, understanding. Uh, Outside understanding is not there. It is always there. But since he is an insider to this, uh, topic, I think it will be interesting to listen from him. And I have not asked his CV, so I don't know exactly, what other aspects of his academic, character is there in his CV. But looking at today's topic, that affirmative action, mostly this affirmative action comes under the discourse of equality, and equality from, uh, you know, uh, what I will say, from the equality as a concept or as a value, it has its own importance internally, and as a consequence, also equality has its own, importance. Now, when we talk about equality, we mean two things. One is the non-discrimination, another is the positive discrimination. Now, non-discrimination, that means everyone is equal before the law. But that principles of non-discrimination may not establish a equal society. And that's why positive discrimination is there, because our starting point for competition is not same. Right. So some community or some group, they are in a affluent position and some are not in a affluent position. So that's why theoretically, till now, nobody has, rejected this positive discrimination, because it has its own significance. But yes, there are certain challenges to positive discrimination. There are certain theoretical challenges. I think what Professor Patnaik, he has worked in his article, that critique of constitutional secularism, there you will find, some of the problems relating to, affirmative action and reservation. Okay. Uh, but then, before we examine it theoretically, we need to understand in which context we are discussing affirmative action. I mean, I have assigned this topic to Pavitra. I mean, this topic is actually there in the module 3 of a course namely the human right and democracy in India. So hence, from this, paper perspective or paper point of view, it is required to understand that what is this affirmative action, and I mean, this affirmative action in which, I mean, in our constitution, what are these articles which deals with the affirmative action, right? And what are the other developmental strategy, for the development of weaker section is there in our constitution. So mostly, looking at the perspective of the course, the human right and democracy in India, mostly this presentation will be descriptive in nature. But, uh, this description is meaningless if there is no analysis, right? This description is meaningless if we are not examining, reservation today, if we are not examining affirmative action today. Right. So I think Pavitra will bring some, theoretical insight to his discussion. Certainly, he will describe, what are the developmental strategy, what are the, affirmative actions mentioned in our constitution, and how these affirmative action, I mean, what is the practice of affirmative action today, right? So Pavitra will deal with that, but at the same time, Pavitra will also, analyze affirmative action and try to tell us whether this affirmative action for weaker section, is it really protecting the human right of those, individual? Is it really, if I'll put again in a theoretical language, whether this affirmative action is humanizing individual, it is humanizing the society, it is humanizing the polity, or it is in the process of in a dehumanization process, right? So with this, I am welcoming Pavitra, and I request him to start his deliberation on this, topic. And Patnaik sir is there. Patnaik sir is also the teacher of Pavitra, and I am also the senior of Pavitra. So we are there to, positively, boost you, right? But at the same time, we expect that Pavitra, he will blast, especially on this topic. So with this, I am welcoming Pavitra. Yes, Pavitra, you can start. You have to unmute yourself.
Thank you, Himanshu sir. Thank you, Arun Patnaik sir, for being here. It is my privilege to speak before you. Though I'm afraid of speaking confidently since you are there, I don't know how I will go ahead with the topic. I am having some kind of apprehensions, but I'll try my best. So the topic is affirmative action for weaker sections and other developmental strategy. I have, sorry, Jagannath sir is also there. I have not met him, but I know him. I have read his article. So again, it is a kind of privilege for me. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining. My topic is broadly divided into different sections, like the whole idea and evolution of affirmative action in India. Then I will be discussing on the Constituent Assembly debate around the idea of reservation. After that, I'll be talking on different constitutional provision that is there in our Indian Constitution. Then in the last section, I'll be focusing on different developmental strategy of Indian government since 1950s. So that is how I have divided my topic of presentation in 4 sections broadly. So with that note, I do not know how to define the idea of affirmative action in Indian context. The term, the idea has been defined in different contexts, in different situations, but when it comes to the question of policy, the Indian government, it has adopted terminology like scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, backward class, or recently economically weaker sections. And, and on that basis, government is trying to understand who are the weaker sections, why they are weaker, and on that basis, government is trying to implement the idea of affirmative actions or reservation. So when I'm talking about the historical understanding or the idea of evolution of reservation, I would like to focus on how throughout India during the time of princely state, different princely state, how they implemented the idea of reservation. As far back as 1851, as far back as 1851, the Madras Revenue Board, they passed a standing order, order number 128, with regard to reservation or affirmative action, which needed to be undertaken by administration in Madras. The standing order, it instructed district collectors to ensure appointment are not merely dominated by influential family, influential caste of Madras, and it can be non-Brahmin can also get representation there. After 1851, after 1851, we can think about the commission, the formation of Hunter Commission in 1888. During that time in India, there was a noted social reformer named Mahatma Jyotirao Phule who demanded free and compulsory education for all and proportional reservation and representation in government job for backward or weaker section of society. Am I audible, sir?
You are audible.
Yes, sir.
Then after 1851 and 1882, now coming back to 18, the same kind of demand of reservation, and most prominently in the year 1895, Sahuji Maharaj, he ascended the throne in the year 1895. He determined to include as many as non-Brahmin as possible in administration. He established school, boarding houses, he made primary education free and compulsory. He brought the idea of backward community. He highlighted in his administration the different nature and the poor conditions of people who were living and backward in nature. That happened in Maharashtra. Then in Kerala also in the year 1891, there was feudal princely state of Travancore. They also demanded reservation in government jobs. And interestingly, what they did, to make their point, to prove their point, they hired foreigners by ignoring eligible native in public service. They wanted to prove something, that they can appoint some eligible foreigners instead of inviting eligible native in their public service. Then in 1908, the idea of reservation to a limited extent was introduced by British in favor of different castes and communities. Then 1909 and 1990, Government of India Act also introduced the idea of reservation. In 1921, Madras Presidency, it issued caste-based government mandate. 44% for non-Brahmins, 16% for Brahmins, 16% for Muslims, 16% for Indo-Anglo and Christians, and 8% for scheduled caste. This was the scheme of arrangement in the year 1921 in Madras Presidency. In the year 1935, the Indian National Congress, they opposed the idea of separate electorate, and during that time, 1935, we had the kind of culmination of some debate, discussions with Gandhi and Ambedkar, and we had Pune Pact. Then Government of India Act of 1935 also had the provision of reservation. Then after 1935, in the year 1942, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, he founded All India Depressed Class Federation to support the progress of scheduled caste. Before that, he founded another political party, All India Labour Party or something like that. But he changed the strategy and he formed All India Depressed Class Federation because after a few years, Constituent Assembly was supposed to be formed so that he can be part of it. And he was having that kind of idea, wisdom, and farsightedness that he wrote books and submitted to Constituent Assembly also. So this is the kind of year-wise, phase-wise evolution of the idea of reservation or affirmative actions in India. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah, thank you, Kiran. Now, I will focus on the Constituent Assembly debate. on the idea of reservation, why it was necessary, why there should be reservation or not. The Constituent Assembly, as we all know, it was founded in 1946, and the most important topic was how the interest of the minority can be safeguarded. And there was a debate on reservation. There was a different committee in Constituent Assembly, and one such committee was the Advisory Committee on Fundamental Rights and Minority and Tribal and Excluded Areas. This was one of the committee appointed by Constituent Assembly. This committee recommended reservation for scheduled caste in the legislature on 1947. Then again, after 1947, the same view was reaffirmed by Constituent Assembly in the year 1949. The proposal was then put before the Constituent Assembly and discussion was held. S. Nagappa, an elected member from Madras State Legislative Assembly, had a prominent participation in Quit India movement. He said that he had an interesting view. According to S. Nagappa, who are scheduled caste? Scheduled caste are an economic, political, and social minority. An economic, political, and social minority. I told you that he had an interesting point. What was that interesting point? He said that even today, here and now, I am prepared for the abolition of the reservation, provided every Harijan family gets 10 acres of wetland, 10 acres of wetland, 20 acres of dry land, and all the children of Harijans are educated free of cost up to the university course and given 1/5 of the key post either in the civilian department or in the military department. The expectation is so huge, right? The expectation is so huge here that he is ready to go against reservation. He is ready to abolish reservation given that an SC family provided with 10 acres of wetland, 20 acres of dry land, and all the children of SC families are educated free of cost up to the university course, given 1/4 of the key post. 1/4 of the key post either in the civilian department or the military department. If all these things are getting fulfilled, then he is ready to go against or abolish reservation. So, on that statement, another member of Constituent Assembly, Mohanlal Gautam, he was from United Province, he interjected and he said that if that is the situation, if that is your expectation, then every Brahmin would be willing to swap places with Harijan, right? That kind of land, that kind of free cost of education. If a scheduled caste families are provided with such amount of facilities, then every Brahmin would be willing to swap. Every Brahmin will be ready to become a scheduled caste person, right? That is what Mohanlal Gautam said. In response to that, Nagappa said that a Hindu could not just convert into a Harijan. A Hindu cannot convert into a Harijan. So there is no question of Brahmin becoming a Harijan to have all this kind of facility. Unless one is prepared to scavenge and sweep for others. Unless a person who is ready to convert to Harijan is ready to work in the sewage, in the drainage. He or she is ready to scavenge. Right? If that is happening, if that will be possible, then there is a possibility of conversion from Hindu to Harijan. Otherwise, it is not possible. So this was the kind of conversion they had. There are opponent of reservation also. There was S.C. Mukherjee. S.C. Mukherjee. He was the chair of subcommittee on minority. He said that if we want to have appropriate remedy for backward group, That should be economic remedy, not political safeguard. And J.H. Larry, he was also a member from United Province Legislative Assembly. He was representing Muslim League. He also said that the representation of religious minorities and scheduled caste, it should be secured through system of proportionate representation by counting cumulative votes in multi-member constituency, not through reservation. It is quite an interesting point. He was not in support of reservation, but he said that representation could be secured through a system of proportionate representation. He might be having some different kind of formula of reservation, which can be politically ensured, and people from lower caste society, they can have a level playing field with upper caste people. Then another person who opposed was Mahavir Tyagi. He had a problem that why reservation, why classification of beneficiaries should be given on the basis of caste. He was also part of United Province. And there was another professor, Jeremy D. Souza. He was a theologian from Madras. He suggested that we can use other markers of social disadvantage. Tyagi, Mahavir Tyagi, who was opposing reservation, he was proposing class-based reservation, not caste-based reservation. And minorities should be categorized on economic criteria. That's what he was proposing. D'Souza also argued that religion should not be the exclusive basis of reservation. And he stated that if reservation is given, then it should be given on the basis of individual deficiency and individual need. Individual, they are lacking something, there are deficiency among them. On that basis, they can be given reservation, but not on the basis of caste. According to him, if a man is poor, then he or she need to be assisted, rather supporting him or her through the idea of reservation. Then after having a discussion on that, it was put to vote. There are other persons also in the Constituent Assembly. They also had discussions and positive note on that, on how reservation can be given. Like Jaipal Singh, he also argued for rights and dignity of the Adivasi. He said that Adivasis are original inhabitants of the country and they need their due recognitions. He had also significant views on that, though he was having some differences on different account. Then the final vote was in favor of reservation based on social disadvantage of caste. In the year 1950, Constitution was adopted and it permitted the government to make reservation for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. And in the original Constitution, there was reservation for backward caste also. We might think most of us that in the Constitution, we are having reservation for scheduled tribe and scheduled caste. No. In the original Constitution, there are provision clause for backward caste also. And recently, EWS was also added there. This is how they had debate and discussions on the idea of reservation or affirmative actions. I wanted to speak it on briefly. I hope it is clear. I hope I made sense. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Sunil Sahu, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Now let's discuss about how we are going to locate the kind of affirmative provisions, affirmative actions or inclusive provision in the Indian Constitution. We'll try to analyze different constitutional provision for economically weaker sections of society. For example, Article 15, it talks about prohibition of discrimination. Largely, it is the idea of social equality. Article 15 talks about prohibition of discrimination on the grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. These are the 5 factors: religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. Even the state are not allowed to discriminate on this ground. Private persons are also not allowed to discriminate another person on this ground, though state can make certain arrangement in the name of religion, race, caste, sex or place of birth. Then we are having Article 16, equality of opportunity in matters of public employment. It says that there shall be equality of opportunity for all citizens in matters relating to employment or appointment to any office under the state. Any office that is coming under the state, and in that office, all people, whether they are scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, women, backward caste, or religious minority, or handicapped, they will all have equal opportunity in matters of public employment, and this is also equally applicable to weaker section of society. Then, most importantly, when it comes to scheduled caste, the Article 17 talks about abolition of untouchability. The practice of untouchability is abolished. It is forbidden. It is a punishable offense in accordance with law. One cannot practice, one cannot propagate it in any form. If one is doing that, then it can be considered as an offense and it is subject to punishment. Then the Constitution, it not only providing certain kind of provision or mechanism in terms of fundamental right, but on the basis of fundamental right, it had different provision. Government time to time it brings some kind of act. Otherwise, there is no meaning of having fundamental right. If we are going to implement fundamental right in true sense, then time to time we have to formulate different act, right? So like that, we are having Protection of Civil Rights Act of 1955. This Protection of Civil Rights Act of 1955. Then we are having Atrocity Act of 1989, which got amended in the year 2017. There was a huge backlash and protest against it. The Protection of Civil Rights Act of 1955, it has section from 3 to 7A, which deals with how one cannot prevent anyone from entering public places like worshipping places or water resources, section 3. Section 4, one cannot deny anyone to have access to public restaurant, hotel, public entertainment place, cremation ground, etc. Section 5 talks about refusal of admission. One cannot refuse anyone to have admission in public hospital, dispensary, educational institutions. On the basis of Section 6 of Protection of Civil Rights Act, one cannot deny anyone to sell goods or render services. Section 6 again talks about molestation, against molestation, injury and insult, etc. So these are different provisions we are having under Protection of Civil Rights Act of 1955. Then Prevention of Atrocity Act is another important act. It was passed in the year 1989. It talks about basically the kind of stopping atrocity against scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, and it ensures the kind of punishment. For example, the minimum period of imprisonment shall not be less than 6 months, which may extend up to 5 years or 7 years or life imprisonment, depending on the nature of offences, along with fine. If some person is committing crime against lower caste people, scheduled tribe people, scheduled caste people, if the nature of crime is serious, then the punishment shall not be less than 6 months. It can be extended up to 5 years or 7 years or life imprisonment, depending on the nature of offences, along with fine. Right? These are the kind of provisions we are having. Then under Article 21A, Article 46, we are having inclusive provision in education. Article 21A talks about right to life and personal liberty. Right to life and personal liberty of weaker section of people also quite important. They will also have the equal fundamental right. Then Article 46, it talks about the promotion of education and economic interest of scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and other weaker section. It says that the state shall take special care with regard to the educational and economic interest of the people of weaker section. Then there are other articles which talks about inclusive provision for representation, Article 330, Article 332, Article 243D. All these article talks about inclusive provision for representation of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. Article, for example, Article 330 talks about reservation of seat for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe in the House of the People. Seats shall be reserved in the House of the People for scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, except the scheduled tribe in the autonomous district of Assam. Then the scheduled tribe in the autonomous district of Assam. Then the number of seats should be reserved in any state or union territory for the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe under clause 1A of this article, and it should be proportion to the population. These are the provisions we are having in Indian Constitution with regard to inclusive representation of weaker section of society. And these articles are Article 330, Article 332, Article 243D. Then other kind of legal protection and safeguard is also there under Article 244, 338, and 335. 335 talks about claims of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe in different services and posts. Article 338, it talks about National Commission for Scheduled Caste, and likewise we are having National Commission for Scheduled Tribe also, Backward Class Commission also, different minority commission also we are having. So these are the different constitutional provisions which are there in Indian Constitution for the weaker section of the society. Now, is it clear? Yeah. Am I making sense? Yeah. I might be making it quite boring, but these are quite descriptive part and factual part. So I have to, it is kind of reading out things, right?
Pavitra, you can continue. This description is also necessary. Information are also required. So we Indians, we are always ready for debate. But for debate, we need to know the information and description. So no problem. Now you can continue.
So now I'm coming to the last section of my presentation. Different developmental strategy adopted by Government of India. The first one, as we know, we talked about different constitutional provisions that is there. Then the Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe Prevention Atrocity Act, that is what we discussed now. Then another one is Special Component Plan and Tribal Sub Plan. We are having Special Component Plan and Tribal Sub Plan. These are the strategy for channeling funds for development of SCs and ST in proportion to their population. Those funds need to be channeled to a certain plan like Special Component Plan and Tribal Sub Plan. Then we are having National Scheduled Caste Finance and Development Corporation, NSFDC. It was also established to promote economic and developmental activities for the benefit of scheduled caste. And one of the aim is to provide financial assistance to scheduled caste entrepreneurs. Then we are having in the same way National Scheduled Tribe Finance and Development Corporation. The objective is to provide financial assistance for various entrepreneurship undertaken by scheduled tribe. Then we are having post-matric scholarship scheme for SC/ST student pursuing post-matriculation education to reduce the dropout rate. Then special central assistance we are having for tribal sub scheme. The aim of the scheme is to provide additional resource to tribal development program to bridge critical gaps in infrastructure and services. Then we are having Forest Right Act 2006. It recognizes forest right and the other right of forest dwelling communities. Then we are having integrated tribal development project. Integrated tribal development project. These are the project. It aims to improve socio-economic conditions of tribal community. It focuses on education, health, infrastructure, and other kind of development. Then there are other schemes like National Rural Livelihood Mission. It is for all, but it also include certain specific provision for the upliftment of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe by promoting self-employment and entrepreneurship. There are different provision for other things like hostel for SCs and ST students. The government, it always try to establish hostel to provide accommodation and support for SCs and ST students pursuing education away from their homes. It is practiced across university, across India. Then we are having post-matric scholarship for economically backward classes also. Then there are skill development initiative. Various skill development initiative programs have been implemented to enhance the employability of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe to foster their economic empowerment and development. So this is some developmental strategy the government has undertaken from time to time to strengthen the socio-economic conditions of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe and other weaker section of society. This is the last part, and this is my presentation. If there is any questions, then I'll be happy to answer those questions.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Bag. I mean, there are many more things. It's just one part of this event. Now, Professor Patnaik is there. I am also there. There are also students. I mean, this topic is so much seductive. People from both the sides, they are much more interested that what you are going to speak. And fortunately, you did not see anything which is controversial. You just mentioned what is there in our legal system and what is the history of this affirmative action. Pavitra, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Now, as I said earlier, that this particular topic, this is module 3 of a paper named Human Right and Democracy in India. And how to define human right. The best definition of human right it is a right to be human. I mean, the right is given to us in order to be a human, not to be inhuman. We have to become a human, and to become a human, we need certain conditions, and rights provides us those conditions. Now, if you see, affirmative action, in other words, I will say this positive discrimination or certain facilities or certain conditions given to the weaker section. Now, the question is that whether this affirmative action is humanizing the weaker section or not. Now, if you see weaker section, now weaker section can be defined in two ways. Uh, the first way is this socioeconomic. I mean, from the economic angle, the reservation, what is, what OBC, other backward classes, or, what is that called? Economically backward classes, the reservation they get, that is something different from the reservation, what SC and ST get, So there are two ways of understanding the weaker section. One weaker section is defined by the economic term, and the other weaker section is defined by the caste term, right? Now, in such a situation, whether this affirmative action is humanizing the weaker section, this is my question to Pavitra, or this affirmative action is can I say that it is humanizing the weaker section? This is first aspect. And second, and do you think that this affirmative action is dehumanizing the opposite? I mean, the non-weaker section, right? So what is the impact of affirmative action on non-weaker section? This is, related question to it. Yes, Pavitra, you can handle, then I'll go back to Patnaik, sir. From human right perspective, I'm just trying to, understand whether it is humanizing or not.
Yes. Yeah. See, the idea
You
of
can unmute, you can unmute your video.
yeah. The question is quite difficult. I don't know how to answer it. The thing is that the idea of affirmative action was to give equal opportunity, to ensure dignity and respect, to ensure social justice, to ensure representation. These are the four cardinal democratic values that we try to achieve through our affirmative actions. So, considering all these aspects, and if we see how, due to affirmative actions, lower caste people they are also part of the mainstream society. They have achieved some kind of level playing field. To a certain extent, a few section of lower caste, whether be it from scheduled caste or scheduled tribe, they have become integrated themselves in the mainstream society. They have become a kind of new elite within their society. They have already reclaimed their human personality. Even after that, also there are problems. For example, if Mayawati has become chief minister, then there are public criticism, right? She does not get due respect at official level. Also, being a woman, being a scheduled caste person, she has to go through different kind of comments and other kind of discrimination also. So there are mixed result. Most of the time, what is happening, the goal we are trying to achieve, it seems that it is not achievable in in a shorter period. It will take long time. We have to struggle a lot. We have to inculcate those value system. Otherwise, constitutional provision will not be effective. We need to have a kind of social democracy to practice political democracy. We need to have a kind of social morality to practice constitutional morality. And in our mainstream society, different section of society, they are lacking all this kind of value system. And when it comes to equal opportunity, yes, weaker section of society, they are having some kind of equal opportunity. They are able to have dignity and respect. Legally, they can claim it. Legally, they can protect their dignity and respect. They are struggling every day to achieve social justice, and they are also having representation at legislature, state legislative assembly, and parliament also. So we are not even reached halfway, but yes, we are progressing. Yes, we are trying to humanize ourselves. Yes, we are trying to humanize our democracy, right? Democracy needs more and better and deeper form of humanizing through weaker section of society. If the upper caste people, they are compassionate enough, they are liberal enough, they are progressive enough, then obviously we'll be able to humanize ourselves, our society, and our democracy as well.
Okay, so thank you, Pavitra. Now I am coming back to Professor Patnaik. I mean, the question what I have raised and the response what is provided by Pavitra. Sir, we want your response on this issue. Sir, you have to unmute.
Yeah. But I have to ask few questions to Pavitra. One is actually there are some questions asked by your students, some of the participants.
Yes.
I would like to take
Okay.
I would like.
At the end, you will, sir, say.
Yeah, that is better.
Okay then. Okay then. Okay. Okay, some of the questions I can see in the chat box. Pavitra, I'm just reading this question, or can you read from your own?
Yeah, I can read my own.
Okay, you read it and respond to it.
Yeah. Each affirmative action a necessary remedy to address historical discrimination and promote equal outcomes, or does it compromise the principle of meritocracy and equal opportunity? Suraj Sahu is asking that question. Yeah. Affirmative action, the first thing is that it is quite necessary. And it is necessary to address historical discriminations. It will We do not know whether it will promote equal outcome the way you want it to be, right? Society cannot produce, a system cannot produce equal outcome for all sections of society. We can have the expected outcome. We can have the democratized outcome, not the equal outcome. Those people who are rich, the way they will work, the way they will function, the way they will function in the system, the way the system will function for them, they will have a different kind of outcome. The people who are poor, the people who are lower caste, the people who are women, the people who are backward, they will have a different kind of outcome. Even if you give equal opportunity, then also you have to follow the Rawlsian principle of how you are going to ensure the least advantaged people that they will be benefited the most. So the idea that it will compromise the principle of meritocracy, that is not the concern of democracy here. The democratic people, they should not bother too much about whether the meritocracy will be compromised or not. How you judge, Suresh, how you are going to judge that a person from upper caste is more meritorious than a person from lower caste? It is quite difficult to judge. It is quite difficult to measure. It is quite difficult to quantify those things, given that they are not in the same level. So the idea of meritocracy, basically it goes against the idea of equality of opportunity, the idea of democracy, the idea of social equality in Indian context. Given that all people are equal, and if you are maintaining if you are trying to have the idea of meritocracy, if you are trying to implement it, then it's fine, no problem. But our society, the social arrangement, the social structure is as such that we cannot think about the idea of meritocracy at the cost of majority section of the society. Suraj Sahu, are you satisfied with my answer?
Pavitra, if they are dissatisfied, again they will write, right? So you can go to the next question.
Yeah.
The next question is all about, creamy layer.
Yeah, creamy layer. The idea of creamy layer, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Again, the question is how you are going to, there are difficulties of data. How, whether government is having data, government is having evidences or not to implement the creamy layer or not. What is the section of society from scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, or backward class where you can have creamy layer provision in terms of reservation? So at present, I believe that we do not have sufficient data. If government is ready to undertake some survey and compile some data, then in that case, government can create a narrative, government can discuss in the floor of parliament, then we can think about the future course of action. But I do not know how you are going to apply creamy layer in the provision of reservation for SC and ST. It is not the high time, not the right time to apply creamy layer within the reservation system for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. That is what I think.
I think, Pavitra, the question is asking something deeper. That theoretically speaking, are you supporting to eliminate the creamy layer from the, reservation of SC and ST?
Yeah, that is at present. I believe that there should not be creamy layer in the reservation system or reservation system for SC and ST.
Basically, creamy layers means whose father, whose grandfather is already, in a big job, and their children should not get the benefits of reservation.
Yeah, you can say that, we can say that, but government is having all data. If government can have data and government is trying to exclude, then no one will oppose it, right? At present, we are not having data.
It should not be opposed. If government will do, let the government do it.
A government can do it.
Okay, great. Okay, coming to the next question.
Nikita Saul, does affirmative action promote equality in the workplace or in education? Second question, what is the future of affirmative action looking to the current scenario? Does affirmative action promote equality in the workplace or in education? Yes, it creates a kind of equality in the workplace or in education. But the thing is that in every public institution, wherever you go, you will find that the scheduled caste people, the scheduled tribe people, even the backward caste people, they are not duly and adequately represented. It is supposed to create equality in the workplace. And wherever there is due representation in whatever institution, there is due representation, proper representation of the lower caste, be it scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, or backward section of society, or women, there is different effect. There is equality in the workplace. There is a voice in that place. There is a democratic voice always there to create such kind of equality in equal working place, equal working condition. Whether you can have equal working conditions at mental level is a different thing, but at legal level, all those people who are part of a public institution, duly represented, they will feel safe and secure in that environment that there is a constitution and they are equal. No one can oppress them, no one can dominate them. Of course, structure and system, they operate in a different way, and in some place even people are duly represented, properly represented, then also they face discrimination. But I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the idea of equal condition in workplace is already there in Indian Constitution. It is supposed to create equal working conditions while protecting dignity and self-respect of every individual who are part of any public institution. And it is supposed to happen. And a person, he or she, need to take recourse to legal method to protect his or her self-respect and dignity. So I believe that affirmative action promotes equality in the workplace and in education also. Second question is that what is the future of affirmative action looking to the current scenario? I believe that the future of affirmative action is quite bright. See, at present the government, we are having BJP government, but there is a discourse on OBC reservation, right? Discourse on OBC reservation in terms of caste census. See, the Bihar government, they have brought caste census. Odisha government, there is pressure, right? And the whole India alliance, they are trying to create a narrative. Rahul Gandhi is not a OBC leader, but talking like an Ambedkarite or Bahujan leader, talking like a kind of Kanchiram kind of language they are using. So there is a pressure to the government from the lower section of society and from the leader from opposition. So the future of affirmative action is quite bright in that sense. Nikita Sahu?
She will rewrite. I mean, if she is not satisfied, she will write.
Kurukshetra Deep, Dr. Kurukshetra Deep, he is my friend and colleague. He is asking that.
He has not asked you, he has asked me. Okay, no problem. You come to the Gupteshwar Sahab.
Good, sir. Sir, it is observed that prevalence of reservation is increasing day by day. Yeah, it is increasing. In the sense, many of the people are coming under the reservation. Yes, many of the people are coming. Like we have recently added EWS system. So is it a positive sign of development for our country? Yeah, that is a very good question and critical question. Reservation is increasing day by day, and recently we have added EWS system. So is it a positive sign of development for our country? One thing is that reservation is given to those people who are socially and culturally backward. The EWS people, are they socially and culturally backward? That is the question. EWS people, they might be economically poor, but EWS people, they are not socially and culturally backward. Right? The thing is that if we are giving reservation to EWS section of people, then we can give them reservation based on economic criteria, but we should not call it reservation. We should give it a different name. And I don't know whether we can give it a different name or not at present, but we should not call it reservation. There should be different plan and programs and scheme for those weaker section of society, but not reservation. Government till date not having data, who are these EWS people? What are the percentage of people, those who are coming under it, and on what basis 10% reservation is given to them? So there are still confusion cases are going on in the court, I think so, right? So is it a positive sign of development for our country? If you are doing in a right mind, everything is logically and rationally developed, everything is debated democratically, constitutionally in the floor of parliament, and the country is supporting it, public policy is on a sound footing, then obviously we should welcome it. And such kind of provision should be welcomed. And it does not matter whether you will develop the country or not, or how you will develop the country or not. If there is some support system to the public, to the citizen, and if they believe that they are having a sense of security within their own nation, then that's fine. That is enough to have a united India. That is enough to build a nation, right? And you cannot say that some section of society they are feeling alienated, and we cannot give them reservation. If they are truly backward, then reservation should be given to them, no issue. Not for a long period of time, at least for a few years, 15 years, 10 years, like the original constitution they had imagined it.
Pavitra, I have a confusion in this context that suppose, uh, you know, I'm a weaker person. I'm a very stronger person. Suppose I belong to the, SC category or ST category, but I have money, huge money. So economically, I'm very strong. Uh, but still, then, do you think that I will face the socio-cultural, humiliation or?
Yes, you will face it. Even you are saying that even if I am economically rich, economically strong, politically powerful, what are the chances of facing discrimination, right?
Yes.
Yes, there are very. See, our political system is such that in every political party, whether MP or MLA, they are not in equal footing with the upper caste people in their own political party. They are always kept in a margin. If at political level these things are not happening, then how we can imagine at social level, even if I am rich, then I will be equal with upper caste. Even if I am rich, I cannot consider myself equal with upper caste because I have also assumed myself that I am a lower caste. Upper caste, they are also imposing the idea that we are upper caste. So there is a psychological conditioning in our society.
No, I
Unless
think the same psychology is within the unreserved category. It is within the reserved category also. I mean, within
yes,
the unreserved category, you will also find certain kind of differentiation among people. And within the reserved category also, you will find this kind of differentiation. One individual is thinking that I'm superior than you. So, both the world, reserved world and unreserved world, both are not homogeneous world. These are heterogeneous world, and you
yes,
can find, hierarchy within it. And it again also, should we think that this affirmative action or reservation is against meritocracy? And when we apply the same merit within the reserved category to select a person, I mean, who is that person within the reserved category is selected? I mean, the meritorious person within the reserved category, we are selecting that person. Now, from that angle, can you say that reservation is against meritocracy?
reservation. The idea of reservation is not against meritocracy.
Yes.
The idea of reservation is by itself, by nature, it is not against meritocracy. It is an imposed idea that we are thinking reservation is against meritocracy. Somehow reservation protect meritocracy and protect the interest of the weaker section of society. The idea of 50% reservation, 50% limitation, right? So it somehow protects the idea of merit of other section of society in order to protect the interest of the lower section of society.
Mm.
So the root philosophy, the root theory behind the reservation is not against meritocracy, Meritocracy has
That's a very solid point. That's a very solid point. So it is not against meritocracy, but it is for the meritocracy within the weaker section, within the broken man, right?
yeah.
So I mean, their talent should not be misutilized. It should be properly utilized. So that's why uh, you know it is just a search of merit within the reserve category, so that their talent can be used for the national development. Right. Okay.
Yes.
So thank you, Pavitra, and come to the next question.
Next question.
Oh, it's a long question.
Long question. Yeah, it is also about creamy layer.
Is it familiar? I have. Okay. See whether you want to respond it or not.
Yeah, Suresh Mahanand is asking that whether the idea of creamy layer, it has like epic center of the debate, right? In the line of primary layers with the idea of caste division. If possible, Arun sir will take up the question. He's talking about Habermas in his idea of legitimation crisis and creamy layer. I'm quite not getting it.
Let me read it so that sir you can understand it. So Suresh is writing, sir, regarding the question of creamy layer, I would say it is too vague and or either a interpretation by the upper caste. Why? Because here the epic center of the debate is not on the idea of reservation on the line of economy. It is primarily associated with the idea of caste discrimination, and for that to deal with exclusively, we have to touch the sphere of politics, and it is none the less a sort of utopia to deal with the issues, as suggested by Habermas in his idea of legitimation crisis. Okay, he's saying that some reservations are based on caste discrimination. We should not think reservation from the economic sense always, right? There are uh, two bases of reservation. One is the economic basis, and another is uh, the caste discrimination or untouchability, or you can it's a historical, injustice. No, non-economic issues. People are exploited on non-economic, ground. This is what Suresh is writing, and so he is referring Habermas to support his argument. Sir, will you respond to it, sir?
Yeah, but it's a nonetheless sort of utopia to deal with what issue? Deal with what issue? Caste issue or economic issues?
Past issue.
Caste issue, okay. No, but see, it's actually a complicated question. The idea of creamy layer actually originates with the idea of what is the concept of creamy layer? Concept of creamy layer right now defines a group of people who have got the benefit of reservation over a period of time, and they should be descheduled. They should be taken out of the schedule. That is the idea. That is a legalistic idea, and that is because the argument is that they are already part of the modern processes for generations. You may take one generation, two generations, or three generations, and therefore they need to be out of it. They are already integrated with modernity, and therefore those who are outside the modernity should be brought forward. And as you know that this reservation is actually with regard to limited number of seats. So therefore there is the opportunities are not unlimited. Opportunities are limited, restricted. The seats are restricted in education institutions, and job vacancies are also restricted in economic institutions. So therefore, given the limited nature of reservation, those who have availed these opportunities for longer period of time need to be taken out of it. This is the idea, and as Pavitra said, this idea looks to be all right. I mean, there is nothing utopian about it, and 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 it also looks to be all right because it is given the limited nature of economic opportunities available in the job sector, or the limited number of equality opportunities available in the education sector is important for the state to delegitimize. So therefore, delegitimization looks like a utopian idea because it's not easy for the ruling elites of India to delegitimize the creamy layer from within SC and ST. They have done it with regard to OBC, but not easy for because of the vested interests and because of and also they have to admit that the opportunities for development are limited. Once you admit, see the one of the key point of why political class is hesitant to concede to creamy layer regarding SC and ST is that they have to ultimately admit that the opportunities offered for development of SC/ST are very limited. So this is what the point the ruling classes of India are unwilling to concede. Therefore, the idea of they resist the idea of creamy layer, and because that is one. Second, the creamy layer has been actually in the forefront in legitimizing the ruling elite politically, culturally, and economically. Therefore, it is incumbent on the part of the non-reserved political, the upper caste political elites to promote creamy layer and perpetuate them in the background of CST constituencies so that they continue their hegemony. Therefore, the hegemony remains uncontested, and to disseminate the hegemony, they need intermediaries. So, the creamy layer group that comes from SCST ultimately contribute to the hegemony of the ruling classes, and thereby it dodges the questions which Pavitra Bagh raised in the beginning with regard to the Constituent Assembly. Constituent Assembly, as you said, as you noticed, many people raise this question that reservation alone is not a solution. We need land reform. We need land distribution. We need economic justice, not simply social justice. Therefore, the question of social justice, by using creamy layer, question of social justice is promoted at the cost of economic justice. That is not Ambedkar's goal. Ambedkar wanted economic justice to be combined with social justice. He was not opposed to economic justice, but he was not opposed to, and he was not simply a champion of social justice, as many people try to claim. He argued, he tried to combine these two concepts, social justice and economic justice, so that the social endomosis, what he calls the social solidarity or integration, genuine integration of SC/ST community across India can take place culturally, economically, politically, and educationally. So this is why this is why I give a complex answer to this, because it's not easy to answer this. It's a very complicated question, and therefore it should be handled in a complicated way. That takes me to the most important question which Ambedkar raised, because see, any policy that is meant to counter caste domination or caste oppression and reservation policy is meant to ensure that, to promote that, must ultimately establish a process of social endomesis, what you call social solidarity. Without social solidarity, you cannot have national integration. India is a vast nation, and you might have developed idea of a territorial nation. You might have got a nation state, but do you have a national unity of people? Caste actually has divided people across nation. Caste has fragmented them, caste has polarized them, caste has weakened national solidarity. Therefore, this neither Congress nor BJP are interested to discuss this question in Ambedkar. Ambedkar primarily focused on national integration of a different kind. He was not trying to force national integration through state framework. He was trying to force national integration through society's framework. Society's framework is based on caste. Therefore, caste must be annihilated. Caste must be destroyed, so that genuine national solidarity, or genuine what we call social endomesis, must surface, must emerge. Without social endomesis across population divided by caste, you cannot have a integrated Bharat. Because this debate between Bharat and India is all bakwas. They have just been trying to deceive us. And interestingly, what I find in debate around this, around the affirmative action policy, we are not forwarding Ambedkar's argument. It is necessary for us to put forth Ambedkar's view on this. Therefore, Ambedkar thought that it is important to combine economic justice with social justice. So, therefore, by prefacing this caste by separating economic from caste, you are doing injustice to Ambedkar's theory. By Ambedkar, caste is enclosed class. Therefore, economy is a caste is enclosed economy. Therefore, economic question can't be separated from political question, from social question. Caste discrimination is invariably about economic discrimination. Therefore, it is important for us to examine caste in relation to economy. And if you are not doing that, then you are not following Ambedkar's theory. Ambedkar never separated, never argued that the idea of affirmative action is to counter caste discrimination, which has nothing to do with economy. It is not Ambedkar's argument. For Ambedkar, if you read his theory clearly, for him, caste is what? Caste is essentially enclosed class. Therefore, affirmative action, like all other actions which are anti-caste, must promote social endomesis to break caste, to break caste, which is promoting segregation among in class division. Caste, as I said, caste is not only division of laborer, it is also division of laborers. Therefore, caste is dividing economic divisions, operating in factories. Caste has therefore broken the backbone of Indian nation, which is the primary concern of Ambedkar, which is actually not in the Congress agenda, not in the BJP agenda. They are talking about something else. But it is important for us to reignite our mind through Ambedkar. Therefore, never try to separate economy from caste discrimination. I think the Suresh Mahananda's question presupposes separation. I not agree with that. It is necessary to bring both the, maybe it is difficult for us to do it, but necessary for to be with Ambedkar, necessary for us to ask this question conjointly, whether social justice has promoted economic justice or economic justice has promoted social justice together, and we must try to ask this question repeatedly to contemporary ruling classes. Whether you are promoting social justice, are you for economic justice as well? You are promoting economic justice, are you? You must ask the left whether when they are interested in economic justice, are they contributing to social justice as well? You must ask the right whether we are talking about social justice, are you promoting economic justice as well? This is what Ambedkar did all the time. Therefore, he disagreed with the Hindu right. I also disagree with Congress and the left liberals of the time, and he agreed with them partly, but he disagreed with them and offer a dual framework to examine the question of justice. Ultimately, all policies are meant to promote justice, and justice is based on twin pillar. One pillar is social justice, other pillar is economic justice. In Ambedkar's theory, we must walk on both the legs. We can't walk on one leg of social justice of the Hindu right or the liberal right or economic justice of the left. Therefore, it is important for us to walk on both the legs. Walking on two legs would promote justice of a different kind, which is not happening in India. A result, we are hanging on to affirmative action and we are going on with that, but we are not thinking of economic justice at all. This is, in my view, anti-Ambedkar. This is contrary to Ambedkar's spirit of annihilation of caste. For him, annihilation of caste involves annihilation of class as well, annihilation of economic divisions, because economic divisions in India are necessarily caste divisions. Now, in the modern factory, as I said, you go to Bombay textile factory, you will find caste divisions operating in the textile mill. And if I go to leather industries in Chennai or Kanpur, you will find caste divisions operating in leather industries as well. Therefore, it is important for us to promote Ambedkar's philosophy, which is based on dismantling of economic divisions, which are also caste-based divisions, and necessary
Okay.
to combine both. I took a long time, but I hope
Okay. Thank you,
I
sir.
made some
Thank you.
sense.
But if Suresh Mahanand, are you there? I mean, you can come back. So if you want to come back, then you can unmute your audio and video, and you can bring your clarification. I mean, are you satisfied with the answer given by Professor Patnaik? I think there is no response. Okay, Pavitra,
Yes, sir.
another question is asked. I mean, just don't respond the question which is asked to the moderator. You see the question which is asked to you. I think Niranjan Sahu.
Yeah. How do you analyze the implementation of affirmative action after so many years of independence, especially at highest level or at the level of decision-making process? At the highest level of decision-making process, due to affirmative actions, there is inclusivity of representation. You will have inclusivity as well as inclusive representation. And if you ask me the question, how far this inclusivity of representation has resulted in effective decision making at higher level, then we cannot be sure to say that it has resulted 100% making of efficient decision. But yes, the decision making bodies, the decision making structure, they have become democratized, they have become inclusive, they are being well represented. And in that sense, at decision making level, there is a sense of empowerment for the lower caste people, SC, ST, and backward section society, wherever they are getting represented at highest level of decision making. At political level, at different political party, you do not see much with regard to their influence. For example, recently there was dilution of Forest Right Act. Central government was trying to dilute it. Odisha government is also having so many problems with regard to the implementation of Forest Right Act. But the representatives, those who are there, political representatives, those who are sitting there in state legislative assembly, they are not raising any voice. So in that sense, we cannot say that they are speaking on some vital issue concerning to their community and they are making government decisions effective. In that case, whenever there is public pressure, public demand, then also we do not see much effectiveness in decision making. But yes, to some extent, the decision making has become democratized. The representation has become inclusive. Diverse perspectives are there at highest level of decision making, and in that sense, there is a sense of social justice is prevailing in our structure. That is what I would like to say in this context. Other than that, we have not progressed much at the highest level of decision making process. Niranjan Sahu?
Okay, I mean, no need to ask, they will write. I think one response has come in connection to your response by Nikita Sahu. Can you read it, Pavitra? That I am not convinced with your answer regarding my second question. Sir, you
Yeah.
have justified your answer with relating to the perspective of Indian politicians. Though politicians always use reservation system as a kind of vote bank, isn't it? Question was that does affirmative action will able to bridge the gap or it will create more inequality between privileged section and unprivileged section of Indian society?
Yes, the reservation system is being used by politicians as vote bank, and they will be using it in future also. And your question is that whether it will be able to bridge the gap. It, I think to some extent, limited extent, this system. Suppose earlier there was no chance of intermingling, interdining, coming at a place, getting together, eating together. All these kind of social activities were not happening, right? The different community, they were highly segregated and compartmentalized. In that sense, the kind of affirmative actions at public place, public offices, universities, colleges, there is a kind of communications, exchange of ideas, coming together, sitting together. Even there are instances of intercaste marriage, people educated getting jobs, they are getting intercaste marriage, right, at political level, social level, economic level. All these things are happening. And why it is happening? Due to some mobility of lower caste people. And this mobility is happening because to some extent affirmative action has helped this lower caste community, right? So it is bridging the gap between privileged section and underprivileged section of Indian society to a lesser extent, but we cannot say that it is bridging the gap as of now.
I mean, Pavitra, Nikita is asking this question that who is a privileged section and who is a unprivileged section? For example, if a non-reserved person which is economically very weak, and on the other side, there is a person from the reserved category, but economically he is very rich. So between these two, who is privileged and who is unprivileged?
In economic sense, both a lower caste person who is economically rich is a privileged person, right? In economic sense,
Okay.
he is
Now,
equally as privileged. He is
uh-huh.
equally as privileged as person from other caste who is economically rich. Both are equally privileged in terms of economic sense.
So privilege basically means from the economic sense, right?
Yeah.
Uh, okay, that's great. Great. Okay, there is no, other questions. Before you, I welcome Professor Patnaik. I think he said that he has some question to Pavitra. So before I come to him, let me clarify that what is this humanization process? This whole idea of affirmative action or reservation, it is, we think that it is pro-equality and it is anti-liberty, but not. Reservation is not against, as said by Pavitra, it is not against meritocracy and it is not against the values of liberty. See, uh, reservation, if it will bring the harmony between the liberty, values of liberty and equality, and if it will bring, fraternity, what is also said by, Patnaik sir, then only we can say that the affirmative action is actually humanizing us. Now, uh, have we achieved that fraternity? I mean, due to reservation, uh, is there any kind of, uh, love like relation between the, reserved category and unreserved category? if there is any possibility of fraternity between these two community. If not, then this reservation is dehumanizing the both. So I cannot say that it is only dehumanizing one side or it is not dehumanizing the other side. But certainly, if Ambedkar would have alive, I mean, he would have, felt very sorry for this the kind of, practices, the kind of debate, the kind of questions we are asking to each other without understanding that, to create a balanced society, to bring a harmonious society, a strong understanding between the reserved category and unreserved category must be there. They must understand their sacrifice, their toleration to each others, and they must understand their, helpless situation. Then only I will say that affirmative action for weaker section is humanizing them, and when it is humanizing them, it is also humanizing the other side also, right? So if I'm a good individual, it means that to whom I will interact, I will also make him good, because that is my goodness. This is just a simple logic. Okay, Patnaik sir, I mean, you said you will come at the last. This is the last. Now you can.
I have two questions to Pavitra. One is first one is about Ambedkar. How does Ambedkar reconcile reservation with equality of opportunities, which he argued very vociferously against both the liberal and the left? That is my first question. Second question is based on my presentation, which I already spoke. This all the this affirmative action policies, along with all other policies, which are anti-caste, are primarily meant to promote social endomesis. But the question is, we don't have ethnographic studies of this kind. How does affirmative action policies have actually promoted social endomesis? We don't have. As far as I know, Pavitra should correct me. But I would like to, in the absence of documentary evidence, I would like to know from Pavitra's organic, authentic experience. What is his experience, anecdotal otherwise, about the emergence of social endomesis due to affirmative action policies? Am I clear, Pavitra?
Yes, sir. Yeah, you are clear. But the first question that how does Ambedkar reconcile with the idea of reservation with equality of opportunity? I do not have answer for that, sir. I have to read for that. And sorry to say, the second question is that on social endosmosis. This seems quite far-fetched, but there are government schemes and programs. They are giving incentive for legal intercaste marriage at social level. When two person of different caste they can marry, they can have 2.50 lakh for marriage. So such kind of initiatives are being launched by government of India. Even I think Rajasthan government recently they have also launched and encouraged this kind of intermingling of marriage system. So other than that, at government level, we do not have solid evidence to say that there is a kind of social endosmosis happening. At political level, what is happening, they are not a kind of coming together in true sense. Even after political representation also, there are social cleavage and social division which are existing till date. So we
No,
never,
but I am more interested in knowing what is your experience, what is your personal experience with affirmative action policy and rise of social endomesis. What is your personal experience in University of Hyderabad, in JNU, in the job where you are doing? Just I am more keen to know about that.
yes, sir. Since college
If you are
days,
comfortable, you answer. Otherwise, you can discuss personally later.
Yes, sir. See, I believe that at one point of time, when I grown up, I read Ambedkar very early, and during seventh class and eighth class. Then I read Bhagat Singh. Then I read Nathuram Godse's book, Nathuram Nathi Kauchi, translated in Odia. And I had a different perception. I had an idea that whenever I'll go to college or university, all will be equal. We have to wear certain kind of dress, will be equal, and there will be a better kind of friendship and everything. But when I came to university like University of Hyderabad, everything was fine. But when the idea of ideology entered to my mind, I thought that this is a new kind of division that is being created in the psyche of people. Whether you are lower caste or upper caste, there cannot be any friendship in the line of ideology. So I believe that a good man is not possible at all. A good politician is not possible at all. A good intellectual is not possible at all, who can be universally accepted. Because there are ideological divisions, and these ideological divisions are played on in the name of religion, caste, and other kind of identity. So the idea of universality of goodness that we were trying to find, we are trying to search in our public places, the places which are supposed to promote it, is not happening. We are not able to nurture it, and I don't think so we'll be able to nurture in future also. So that was one kind of my experience with my educational progress and ideological inculcation. I cannot call my teacher in a true sense if we are having two different ideology. That is also happening. Friendships are getting broken due to ideology, due to politics and everything. So I thought that somehow affirmative actions, it helped me to enter into university. I thought that it will make me equal with other, but somehow I became unequal in a different world. I was not able to realize it. And whenever I felt that me or others are being discriminated, and I believe that we are living in a different world altogether. There are different realms of living and experiencing something. So that was the kind of shock I had when I thought about having a different kind of personality and developing and growing with that at university level and college level. But when I come again, when I came to Jawaharlal Nehru University, it got concretized. The division got compartmentalized and concretized. We have to support certain ideology just because we are part of that ideology, part of that community, and we are saying good thing about it. But even if you are saying good thing by having some ideology, then also it has become problematic. People are not able to accept that one ideology can say something good and we can appreciate that. We are not able to appreciate each other. The appreciation has ended so far. So my perspective from being a lower caste is that society is being regressive gradually. The kind of toleration, the kind of acceptance, it is existing theoretically, but in real sense, in practical sense, it is non-existent in nature. So the idea of democracy to
I mean,
materialize.
Pavitra, I understand it. But Gopal Guru in JNU, uh, he is also surrounded by some of his colleagues who belongs to the other side. I mean, is he experiencing the same way what you are experiencing with a colleague or with a friend?
Yeah, possibly because among the same community, same group of intellectual, there are divisions, ideological line with Gopal Guru sir also. They cannot talk in an honest mind with each other, being from the same community, being from the same ideology, or being from the same practice in the same field. So it is at all levels. Simply they cannot come together, though they are from same community, they are talking about same idea, same program. They cannot come together in a single platform. That kind of division is existing at intellectual level also.
So now the problem is that how to resolve this. I mean, if we will think that there is a reserved world, there is a unreserved world, and okay, let them enter to the reservation, but we will segregate them. Now, in such a situation, I mean, this Reservation is actually demolishing the very idea of reservation. You know, it's a very dangerous practice. I mean, it will never bring, a kind of harmony. It will only dehumanize the individual. I mean, what to do, sir? What is the solution to it?
There is no immediate solution. Question is, we have to carry on dialogue with each other to break ice. As Pavitra was saying, his personal experience is, even if people come from same community through similar experience, they are ideologically divided, ideologically polarized. They are not able to talk to each other. Therefore, to break it, we must indulge in more discussion and debate among ourselves. This is the only ice-breaking measure you need to follow, and let's see how far we can go. So dialogue is a way out, because I have seen that in Convener and other places. If you carry on dialogue with each other, one can develop respect for each other. Now ideologically divided viewpoints also disseminate more disrespect to each other. If we can overcome it through dialogue, and dialogue is the only way to overcome it, and more dialogue is necessary in this matter, so that the point is, despite ideological divisions, there are some common grounds on the basis of which dialogue can be carried out. But for that, one requires mediators like Himanshu Mishra. So who will mediate? The mediators play always a great role. Mediators bring people to dialogue. Just as we are now discussing with Pavitra, his experience, which was very illuminating and very interesting for me. With that, I asked him that question. So we require moderators to carry out social dialogue of this kind, and not
I
many
mean,
are
there
willing
is
to
no
play that role.
ready-made answer, and I mean, we have to continue the dialogue, and through
Basically,
dialogue,
dialogue.
we can
Yeah,
develop the
yeah,
mutual respect and mutual understanding, right?
exactly, exactly.
And both the side must understand, both the world must understand each other, and ultimately it will become a kind of single world, right?
No,
So
it may not
that's
be single world, but at least we will know that we must live with this much difference, and yet we share this much commonality.
we
This is
respect this difference.
we respect differences of ourselves, because we also share some common issues. This is what is lacking today. As Pavitra said quite well, this is what is lacking today.
I mean, the last, some couple of the sentence of Pavitra, it was actually the best part of his, presentation.
Yeah,
I
I felt
mean,
so.
he,
Yeah,
he,
yeah.
he said, he said everything. He said everything.
He
Sir, I
said
mean, the
so well.
question the question you have asked earlier, equality of opportunity and Ambedkar. I mean, how you will resolve it?
No, because after listening to his presentation, I got this question. I myself can't answer it at this moment. One has to examine it in Ambedkar, where he defends reservation and also talks about equality of opportunity. And how does he reconcile? One has to read between lines. There is no direct reconciliation
Sir,
by him.
I think let me resolve it. I am
Hmm.
saying it from my mind. I don't know whether Ambedkar has said it, but I think Ambedkar will be close to it. When we talk about equality of opportunity, right? So everybody must get equal opportunity. Then first we need to think that whether we all are equal or not. If we all are not equal, then how can we apply the principle of non-discrimination, right? For equality of opportunity, both the things are there. In some situation, in some aspect, non-discrimination principle will be applied, and in some situation, positive discrimination will be applied. So equality of opportunity demands both the principles of non-discrimination, principles of positive discrimination. And since Indian society is an unequal society, here lies the significance of positive discrimination.
Hmm.
I think it is not contradictory. Affirmative action, reservation It is not, always antithetical to equality of opportunity.
It is not antithetical, but you have to agreed on certain idea that yes, reservation is there. That is why we are having equal opportunity. And if we are going to have equal opportunity in a true sense, we cannot have reservation. That is the dilemma. If we are
What
having
Pavitra, sir, what Pavitra is saying that without reservation, equality of opportunity cannot be ensured.
Yeah. So long as caste is there, caste
Uh,
system is there,
it is. I mean, it is very much
not
needed. I mean,
possible.
yes, yes. Positive discrimination is a theoretical need for the equality of opportunity. It's a theoretical need, but the only problem is that how we
No,
practice it.
no. Even recently, last month, the RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat said that so long as caste system operates, we have to have reservation system. He said that. So therefore, even the most we call it Hindu conservative force has admitted this.
Okay, Niranjan Sahu, you have raised your hand. You can come. Niranjan Sahu, you have raised your hand. You have anything to say? No,
by mistake might have raised.
No, by mistake he might have raised.
by mistake. So, Pavitra, now you can unmute your video.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Dr. Bag. I mean, Pavitra. I mean, it is good. As I said, the last part of your experience, it was the best part of your presentation. I mean, uh, I mean, a JNU professor, if he or she will listen to you, I mean, she will just or he will just listen to you and try to understand what is happening around this affirmative action. Right? Thank you very much, Pavitra. You accepted my invitation and you respected my request. I think the preparation what you had done, it was much more descriptive in nature, but after your presentation, the discussion part, what happened between you, me, Patnaik sir, then other participants through their question, it was the analytical part of affirmative action. So if you connect all this descriptive part and analytical part, I think we have done justice to this topic, affirmative action for weaker section, right? And for students, I urge you to read some of the stops I have given to you. I have already shared with you, but if you want more, I can provide you more materials on reservation. I am sure that this lecture will help you to bring some clarity in your understanding, and that clarity will help you when you will understand, all these materials. So thank you, Pavitra, and thank you, Patnaik sir, for your presence and for your you know uh, analysis, right, and for your thought-provoking, question. So, on behalf of all participants, on behalf of our department, Political Science, Sambalpur University, I am thankful to both of you, and I am also thankful to all participants, mostly our students, and it is through their participation, I mean, this
Jagannath
event
is there, no?
is successful.
Jagannath, Jagannath is there, but he didn't ask any question.
Jagannath, I mean, is he from the Gujarat University? I mean,
No, no, no. From T side, Jagannath,
Please,
Assam,
Guwahati,
T Assam.
Guwahati.
okay. Sir, are you there?
No, no, Sar is not there.
Sir
He
is
left,
not
I
there.
think. He left.
Okay, okay. So, thank you. I'm stopping the recording. Be there.
Yeah.
Thank you for the invitation. It was a nice discussion. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Pavitra, for your last presentation was very illuminating.